Hey squad, Sykes here, and welcome back to another Halo Infinite news video here on InstallationX. And today's video, we are going to be breaking down the information that 343 have given us through their recent development update video that they posted on the Halo YouTube channel and over on Halo Waypoint. And it's not all good news. I think that's putting it lightly. Maybe you did see the thumbnail. That was my initial reaction when I've read or looked through some of the information that was given to us. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to wrap this up as quickly as I can, not spend too much time rambling a little bit like I have in the past. But essentially there's two massive things that have come out from this video, and that is that Halo Infinite will not be launching with campaign co-op of any kind when it launches this holiday, and it will not be launching with Forge of any kind this holiday. And that is a massive bummer for many people. There are a couple of other details that they explained. They were talking about that multiplayer split screen will be there at launch for consoles, but it will not be there for PC due to technical challenges and various configurations on PC. And essentially they've come out and said that although they really appreciate a lot of the feedback that has been given to them from the recent technical preview regarding the multiplayer side of things, there's a limit on what can be altered now based on that feedback, which I completely understand. That's not a criticism. You know, there's probably some things that they're gonna see reoccurring and they're gonna potentially alter in the next couple of months, or there's some things that they are gonna flag to be updated later on in the future. And essentially a lot of this is falling back on the fact that Halo Infinite is essentially a live service game, and there is going to be opportunity and scope for 343 to add and update things as the game develops over the coming years and the coming months. But the big real news of this is the fact that Campaign Co-op is not going to be there at launch. It will be arriving in Season 2, and Forge will not be there at launch, and that will be arriving in Season 3. And that wouldn't be the end of the world. If that was the case, if those seasons were potentially going to change, you know, a couple of weeks maybe after the launch. However, Season 2 is going to be launching 3 months after the launch of Halo Infinite. So we won't get Campaign Co-op until 3 months after the release of the initial game. And Season 3 will be happening 6 months after the launch of Halo Infinite. And that is a long time. So if you run that number, essentially with what we think is going to be a November release date, we're not going to get Campaign Co-op until February of 2022, and we're not going to get Forge until May 2022. So that is a pretty long gap, and even though these are two features that I don't often use that much, I've always soloed most of my Halo campaigns, and then I've kind of messed around with my friends a little bit. I've never really been much of a forger. I understand how for a lot of people in the community, they are going to be really upset by this and they're going to be completely gutted. You know, the idea of going through and playing the Halo campaign with, you know, up to 3 of your buddies when it releases, you're not going to be able to do that. And that's a tough pill to swallow. So Joe Staten was talking about the reasons why they've made these decisions is essentially for their number one priority being that they have set a very high quality bar for the game internally for themselves, and they want the game to be of high quality for us as the players. And right now they're just being honest, saying that Campaign Co-op and Forge are not at the level that they want them to be before they release. So therefore they're being released as part of their seasonal roadmap. With Campaign Co-op, in order to focus on the quality of the experience, they've made the decision to delay the Campaign Co-op, but they've not made the decision to delay the entire game, only Co-op and Forge. And the reason why they've said that they've done this is because actually the solo campaign, which is what we're now going to call it essentially, and the multiplayer is in a very good place, minor a couple of tweaks from the technical preview. So they did discuss internally about potentially delaying the game again, but they felt that they wanted to at least get the game out to players so that they've got a good high quality game to play this holiday for it to then be iterated on in the future. Now, again, I'm not going to go in and bash 343. I don't believe in doing that. Game development is really difficult, and that's not how I like to do things. However, I think this has been the hardest thing for me to take around Halo Infinite personally, even though they're two features that I'm not super into, because these are things that you would expect for a game to launch with. And it's exactly the same scenario that we had with Halo 5. The game launched bare bones, and we eventually got game modes, BTB, Forge, Warzone Firefight later on down the line. And they were sold to us as free updates instead of like map packs and whatnot and paid DLC to kind of scoot over the fact that they weren't going to be there. Now, I do appreciate the transparency here, but this sucks, and I am happy with the fact that they are taking this decision because they need the more time and they want to produce a high quality game. The last thing you want is Halo Infinite launching really, really well, and certain aspects of it work well, but certain aspects of it don't work well, and then you're not going to get an overall great or incredible game. You might just get a good game once things balance out because Halo is so diverse. But yeah, this just really is a bit of a bummer. There are a couple of good things that have come out of this video, in that insiders will get the opportunity to play a BTB technical preview, which I imagine is probably going to get announced maybe at Gamescom, potentially. And they have committed to there being a Forge launch through flighting at some point down the line before the game, or before Forge launches fully into the game. You'll be able to get to play it through flighting with insiders, which again is good. But Joe Staten kind of went into a bit more information, saying that Forge is a very advanced tool, which is very innovative, and he hopes that people create new, innovative, novel experiences, but it's quite complicated, and I'm hoping that means they're going to do a lot of things within Forge that we've never seen before, which would be really neat. And again, Campaign, with it being so much wider and open and non-linear for Halo, and with it allowing more flexibility, that brings in new challenges for them from a co-op perspective. So again, everything was wrapped around of them being gutted to have to explain it, but they feel that they are in a good position to launch a very good game at this point, this holiday, to then for it to be iterated on in the future. The one thing that I will say, and this is where I think Free for Free are ultimately going to be judged, is two things. One is that when this campaign co-op and Forge hit, they need to be fire in terms of justifying the reasons for why they have delayed them so far post-launch this holiday. The other thing is that multiplayer needs to be absolutely stacked with things that we can do and that we can engage in beyond just a couple of Slayer maps, a couple of BT maps, and a couple of game modes. The criticism that I had of Halo 5, I know it's before I had the YouTube channel, but one of my big criticisms with my friends when I was talking about it was the fact that there were so many modes, just simple game modes like Infection, Griffball, things that were missing, BTB completely, that were missing at launch. That cannot happen here. It has to be stacked with a good range of maps, a good number of maps that are well designed, with lots of multiplayer to get our teeth into, so that when we eventually get these new features added post-launch, and there are potentially other features that they haven't announced yet that are going to be added post-launch, it doesn't feel like we've got a barren wasteland of content, right? Because that was one of the things that Sea of Thieves struggled with early on. The other big game that I showcase on this channel is that early on Sea of Thieves was very bare bones. It had a couple of simple mechanics that got very repetitive and very boring quite quickly. And then over the years they've added more and more to the game, so the game is flourishing with things to do now. So I'm hoping that won't be the case with Halo Infinite. Other news is that the team is currently in a shutdown mode, so what they're doing is they're looking at lots of bug fixing, reviewing areas, reviewing the whole game essentially, with the goal to deliver an awesome experience day one for consoles and for PC. Campaign gameplay will be shown before launch, so a full gameplay demo similar to what we had last year, updated for obviously recent developments that they've been going through, with more captures and more trailers coming closer to launch. And I guess another little bit of a funny bit towards the end, as a lighter note, is that apparently Craig the Brute has now got lots of hair. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything that was announced in this video, guys. I will link it in the description below. I'm really interested to hear people's thoughts in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, then please make sure you leave a like, you head over to InstallationX and subscribe, and you hit that notification bell for more Halo Infinite videos. I'm Sykes, and for all things Halo Infinite and all things Xbox, stay tuned to InstallationX. Bye, guys.